Di pa.
This was a joint meeting. The Not Sister Club, Amani. Il était allé à son crime. Je pense qu'elle était fatiguée.
Good evening, everyone.
Marina, ça. Elle m'écrit bien.
Hi, Inday. Good evening.
Hi, Marine.
Good evening, Mama Rins.
Good evening, Sir Amy, President Amy. Good evening.
Good evening po.
We have a member all the way from Switzerland.
Je fais pas quoi?
President Fred, President Emmy, should we start already,
parce
please?
que
Okay.
ils sont unmute justement. Non, si Tupik ke unmute at the moment.
Pili ka unmute, Day.
How are you, Marine?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
President Fred, you'll be the one first, di ba?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. By the power vested in me by the Rotary District 3810 and the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, I now call this meeting to order.
Welcome to the joint meeting of the Rotary Club of Cebu Puente and Rotary Club of Manila Bay. I call this meeting to order. At this juncture, let me allow me to call our host for tonight, Past President Bobby Ross.
Thank you.
Take it away,
Thank
Bobby.
you, President. Thank you, President Amy. Good evening, everyone. And as you said, welcome to this joint meeting and signing of Sister Club Agreement between the Rotary Clubs of Cebu Puente and Manila Bay. There's so much friendship and so much history between these two clubs. I remember in my term, I had one of the best sinulog experiences there was. At the time, PDG Emmy hosted, PDG Espina hosted us in his building. Tama ba?
You remember that? Yeah.
Di ba, sir?
Yeah. Coco was there also.
Yeah, and, it's I'm sad to hear that my classmate sharing president Titong Raffles is not that active anymore in the club.
Yeah.
But I'm here and I will speak for him as well. So before we start the program, let us honor God and country and Rotary through the ABP presentations. First, the invocation, followed by the national anthem, and then the Rotary hymn, followed by the Rotary four-way test. The ABP, please.
I saw some dirty kids today begging on the street. Their daddies and their mommies didn't have enough to eat.
I heard about the fighting in a place that's far away, and all the lonely people who don't have a place to stay. It's sad that these things happen in a world that you've made, but I know for sure that there is hope, so now I will pray. Let there be peace and harmony in this world. Let there be love and joy for every boy and girl. Let your glory fall upon the earth, bring healing to us all. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray today.
I saw a sick old lady lying on a bed. She looked so weak and helpless that she had to be fed. I heard my neighbor crying when her daddy banged the door. Another little broken heart, I wonder are there more? It's sad that these things happen in a world that you've made, but I know for sure that there is hope, so now I will pray. Let there be peace and harmony in this world. Let there be love and joy for every boy and girl. Let your glory fall upon the earth, bring healing to us all. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray. Oh Jesus, this I pray today.
a Rotarian for the world. Make the Rotary flag as the flag of peace unfurled. I shall serve my community, help achieve universal unity. I shall dedicate my all. World understand, it shall be my cherished goal. With a four-way test, I'll pursue my quest. If in my little way help attain peace in the world, I shall not have lived in vain. Service above self, lend a hand to all who need my help. I'll give my spouse to involve in Rotary, and in Rotary race I will train my family. With a four-way test we'll pursue our quest, if in our little way help attain peace in the world, we shall not have lived in vain. Build a bridge for tomorrow's youth, strengthened by nothing but the truth. Let's join our hands, there's no reason we'll divide. We shall all understand why the good Lord is our guide. With a four-way test we'll pursue our quest, if in our little way of the day peace in the world, we shall not have lived in vain. Peace be achieved, we shall not have
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular, to encourage and foster. First, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. Fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And if I may be allowed to say, that was one of the best na AVP na nakita ko. Ang galing, walang technical problem, walang ano ha. Of course, the four-way test was made and voiced over by past President Maricel Amores of RC Cebu Fuente. And then we have to thank Chris for the technical expertise. Anyway, again, welcome to the joint meeting of the Rotary Clubs of Manila Bay and Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. Now for the welcome remarks, may I call on past President Mark Dairit of RC Manila Bay. Mark?
Unmute. All right. So let me start. I'm supposed to tell the welcome remarks. So first of all, to the past district governor, Yumi Espina, and my classmate, my dream team classmate, past district governor, Mean Alcordo Solomon, district officers, Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente President, Emma Tasalona, and all your members and your spouses and your family and your friends, to Transformational President Fred Sibog, and to all my colleagues, to the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, to all their spouses and friends, ladies and gentlemen, and guests. Welcome to this wonderful and historic joint meeting of two great clubs, two truly great clubs, and with this accompanying sister club agreement ceremony. For those of you who don't know, this sister club agreement is actually a renewal because we've had our first agreement 21 years ago, and this was signed by our past president Louis Bantog. He was the Millennium President at that time, together with past president of Cebu Fuente, Jojo Del Fierro. And during the time, I remember the club secretary of the Rotary Club of Manila Bay was Che Lejano. And the club secretary for the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente was Bing Recarte. And it's a very interesting story. Before I just want to share this story with all of you. In 1998, 1999, when I was president of our club, I had the pleasure of meeting past district governor Anton Florendo of Cebu. He was the district governor at the time. And I said, and when I met him, my first question is, Gov, refer us naman, endorse us naman to a good club in Cebu who you feel will fit in our, will fit our personality, that someone we can get along with, and so that we can have good fellowships and good projects through the years. And actually, myself and Dr. Che Lejano, we already talking to several Cebu clubs. But Governor Anton Florendo was very, very insistent. He said, there's only one club that I will recommend to you, and that is the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. If you're going to have a sister agreement, that is the club that you should match with. And here's the number of Mean Alcordo Solomon. You call her and you communicate. So that's exactly what I did. When I was president, I communicated with PDG Mean. I communicated with my counterpart president, Yumi Espina, and with the club service director of Cebu Fuente at the time, who was Bing Recarte. And so that's history. In a few months, we had grand joint meeting at the Grand Convention. Wonderful meeting. So many people attended, and President Louis Bantog and President Jojo Delfero signed that historic agreement. So it's very special to me. I'm very grateful to our Ninong, Anton Florendo, and to our Ninang, PDG, Mayan Alcorde Solomon, for that. And after that, we went back again to Cebu for another project. We did a joint project. It was Dengue Billboard Project, which PDG Mayan Solomon helped us make the billboards. That's our business. And we did a launch. And that time, our president was Tony Moncupa, PP Tony Moncupa, who's now the president of East West Bank. And the time he was still with another bank, I remember. And so it was wonderful. And so I have to say that, going back, that event, going back 21 years ago, was almost exactly 21 years ago, was something where I met, was somewhere where I met Bing Ricarte, who was then the club secretary of the Cebu Fuente, and I love her very much. I've loved her since I met her 21 years ago, and because of that, the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente has a special place or two in my heart and my mind. So with that, I welcome all of you to this special meeting. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Thank you, PP Mark. And now for the response, may I call on Transformational President M.E. Tesalona.
Okay, good evening, fellow Rotarians. Transforming President Frederick Sibug, past District Governor Yumi Spina, past District Governor Mayan Alcorte Solomon, protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to our first meeting after we lost communication for quite some times. It is indeed nice to reunite, update, and exchange pleasantries with old friends, especially from the members of Sister Club, whom we have glorious moments in the past. Tonight, we will be renewing our Sister Club agreement, and I hope it will net us more projects and fellowship in the future. I hope this reconnection will last and deepen the camaraderie of the two clubs. Again, welcome, and let's have joyful and meaningful meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Emmy. But if I may add, we still have a continuing project, di ba? The Pacemaker Bank project still continues. It's a joint endeavor between our clubs and the Vicente Soto Memorial Hospital, which, if I may say, was the Southern Philippines Hospital. Tama ba yun?
Southern Island.
Southern Islands Hospital, yes. That's where I was born in 1952. Okay, so it's time to meet each other. First, we want you to meet the Rotarian members of Rotary Club of Manila Bay. And for that, may I call on past President Louis Pantog. Louis? Louis, you're still mute.
Thank you, PP Bob. And good evening, fellow Rotarians. It is my privilege tonight to introduce the distinguished members of the Rotary Club of Manila Bay. In no particular order, my club is not very much known for protocol.
Excuse me, Louis.
Yes, sir.
it was requested pala, I'm sorry, it was requested from me that when you mentioned the Rotarian, can we ask please the Rotarian to acknowledge so that they will know who it is? Is that okay with the RCMB Rotarians?
If they can
Okay,
acknowledge,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, I guess they have to acknowledge their presence. So let's proceed. Our first one is, of course, our very own president, President Fred Sibog. He is an architect by profession, a businessman, and currently in public service, being an elected official of Barangay San Lorenzo, in the city of Makati. Then we have our host,
Thank you.
PP Bob. PP Bob Ross is the better half of our twin presidents. No? His other brother is Benji Ross. No? He is retired in the travel industry and enjoys very much hosting our meetings.
Thank you and good evening. Maayong gabi.
Then we have our club secretary, Heidi Elisan. She has been head of our secretariat for almost more than a decade. And currently, she is the district Rotaract representative. Heidi, can you acknowledge?
Yes, hi. Good evening, everyone, especially to RCCF Fuente.
Thank you. Then we have, of course, PP Mark, our should have been governor for the District 3810. He is into jewelry, real estate development, fitness, Gold's Gym, UFC, restaurateur, and by the way, if you're ever in Subic, he probably has one of the very best resorts there, no? Yung All Hands. Hindi ko lang alam, bukas na ba, PP Mark? Can you acknowledge, PP Mark?
PP Louie. Yeah, thank you. It's open. Please come to the beach. Safest place to be.
Perfect. Then we have, of course, PP Bobby Galvez. Used to be the head of HR, Human Resources in BPI before he moved on to head his current company in Indonesia. So right now he is our man from Indonesia. PP Bob.
Hi, good evening. Good evening.
Thank you.
Happy to be here. Happy to join.
Bob.
Then we, of course, have our number 3 president, si PP Abel Manliklik. No? He is probably the ambassador extraordinaire. Just like Mark, he's into everything and anything. Sales, marketing, distribution, art collection, restaurateur, and philanthropist, among everything else. No? After him, we have, oh, by the way, PP Abel, please acknowledge.
Hello, maayong buntag.
Thank you, sir. Then we have member Noel Leco, our charter member. He is the current president of the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, and he is a retired AIM professor. President Noel, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Good evening to our friends from Cebu. Glad to see you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we have, of course, Rotarian Burley or Director Burley Magdayaw. She is into education and also currently a district Rotaract representative. Burley.
Magandang gabi sa lahat.
Thank you. Then we have our Rotarian Edward Villanueva, who is into engineering, and more popular in our club is that he is our professional diver. Wala na hong hahanapin pa pag kailangan nyo ng training in diving. Yeah. He is the man to approach.
Anything? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Then we have our doctor, Dr. Richard Song, our man from Korea, the other half of our tandem. Dr. Song is into blood cupping, no? And he is into business. Dr. Richard Song, can you acknowledge, please? Baka naka-mute pa siya. Well, let me go on. We have, of course, our President-elect Joel Ferrer. His profession is a lawyer and currently in government service as the Undersecretary for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Attorney Ferrer, PE, can you acknowledge, please? Baka naka-mute din. Then we have, of course, our first gentleman, William Yu. William is he's our academe, professor, and the IT wizard of our club. And at the same time, we call him our first gentleman because he's the better half of our past president, Ana Yu. William? Thank you, sir. Then we have, of course, past President Alvin Vega, an architect and past president of the Philippine Institute of Architecture. Partner po yan ni President Fred Seymour.
Alvin.
Maayong gabi kaninyong tanan. Most especially regards sa aking mga idol, si Gov Mean and Gov Yumi. Good evening.
Thank you, Alvin. Then we have, of course, our director, Richard Floro. He is into photography, printing, and arms manufacturing. So if you've ever heard of Floro Photo, Floro Blue Painting, yan po si Sir Richard Floro. Richard, can you acknowledge?
Yes, good evening to the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. Please.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And we have, of course, Attorney Dindo Garciano, our Charter Secretary. He is also into government service, having been an elected mayor of the city of Baras in Rizal.
Hello,
Secretary Dindo.
good evening to everyone. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Then we have, of course, Rotarian Marjo Vista, who just recently retired from government service, having been head of the Senate Secretariat during the term of Senate President Coco Pimentel. Marjo?
Yeah, hi. Good evening. Good evening to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Then you have, of course, past President Tres Bragais, who is into fashion and garments manufacturing. He provided most of our PPE requirements during the most delicate portion of the pandemic. PP Tres?
Hi. Good evening, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Then, of course, we have Rotarian Dr. Pauline Santiago, our in-house ophthalmologist. Very much sought after po yan. Dr. Pauline?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rotarians.
Then, of course, now we have past President Ana Yu, who is also in government service. She is currently the head of procurement in the city of Makati.
Hi, good evening.
Ayan. Hi, Ana. Then, we can move on to our Rotaractors. We have the current president of our Rotaract Club, President Marivic Teresa Villoso, with her two Rotaractors, John Marie Castillo and Regine Castillo. Guys, can you please acknowledge? Did I miss anybody else other than myself? I am Louis Bantug, past president number 5 of our Rotary Club after my president, Mark Dairit. I am also a practicing maritime lawyer. So good evening again, and hopefully the rest who will come in later will be recognized by TP Bob. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Louis. But the one about later, I will also call you to recognize them.
Thank you.
And now let us get to know our sister club, the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, to introduce the board of officers, directors, and advisors, as well as the roster of members of RC Cebu Fuente, is none other than their past president, Maricel Borromeo Amores. Go ahead, ma'am.
Great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It is never about the role, always about the goal. Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. Vision. We see people of action cultivating fellowship, integrity, excellence, leadership, diversity, service for everyone, every day. Mission statement. High impact leaders helping humanity. 38 years of dedicated service above self. It is my distinct honor to present the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente leaders for Rotary Year 2020-2021. Rotary opens opportunities. Emmanuel P. Tesalona, President. Attorney Bernardino T. Amago IV, Vice President and President-elect. Polly Jiang, Secretary and President nominee. Architect Manuel L. Torres Jr., Treasurer. Emmanuel C. Calalang, Auditor. Geraldine B. Ramos, Sergeant at Arms. Dave John B. Karamihan, Protocol Officer. Jason G. Ong, Director, Club Administration. Maricel Borromeo Amores, Director, Membership. Engineer Jeselito V. Baring, Director, Community Service. Eman Rayan C. Abay-Abay, Director, Community Service. Dr. Tess Annette S. Libron, Director, Vocational Services. Attorney Lolita L. Lomanta, Director, Youth Service. Jose Marie M. Ponce, Director, Youth Service. Christopher A. Ligones, Director, Public Relations and CICO. Jose Alfonso C. Abad, Director, International Services. Kendrick S. Sulay, Chairman, the Rotary Foundation. Stephen Henry Uy, Ways and Means. Patrick Yared, Ways and Means. Meet our advisors. Joseph Michael P. Espina, Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, District Governor, Rotary Year 2007-2008, President 1998-1999. Mary Ann Alcordo Solomon, and Polio Now Zone Coordinator, District Governor, Rotary Year 2016-2017, President 2001-2002. Julio L. Gonzalez, President, Rotary Year 1992-1993. Richard G. Barba, District Trainer, Rotary Year 2016-2017, President, Rotary Year 2002-2003. Conrado M. Abarintos, Deputy District Governor for Operations, Rotary Year 2015-2017, President, Rotary Year 2009-2010. Maria Consolacion A. Pasion, President, Rotary Year 2013-2014. Maricel Borromeo Amores, District Interact Chair, Rotary Year 2004-2006. President, Rotary Year 2017-2018. Alan O. Senerpida, Assistant Governor, Rotary Year 2020-2021. President, Rotary Year 2018-2019. Meet the distinguished men and women of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente with their classification. Jose Alfonso C. Abad, Non-Life Insurance. Conrado M. Abarintos, Government Customs Finance. Eman Rayan C. Abay-Abay, Customs Brokerage. Attorney Bernardino T. Amago IV, Academe Legal Services. Maricel Borromeo Amores, Human Resources Consultancy. Richard G. Barba, Printing Services. Engineer Joselito V. Baring, Environment Consultancy. Emmanuel C. Kalalang, Multipurpose Cooperative Management. Don Jade C. Kanama, Real Estate Management. Attorney Cedric Jose Andre G. Deperine, Corporate Law and Litigation Services. Architect Joseph Michael P. Espina, Architecture Planning. Dr. Julio L. Gonzalez, Medicine Pediatrics. Polly Jan, Coffee Shop Management. Dave John B. Karamihas, Marina E. Kaufman, Hotel and Restaurant Services. Dr. Tess Annette S. Libron, Surgery Surgical Oncology. Christopher A. Ligonas, IT Services. D. Hora V. Ligonas, Concierge Services. Attorney Lolita L. Lomanta, Prosecution Services. Jason Go Kian Ki Ong, Manufacturing Operations Management. Maria Consolacion A. Pasion, Games and Amusement. Jose Marie Ponce, Memorial Plan Investment Services. Geraldine B. Ramos, Forwarding Services. Maria Dolores Rimas, Resort Management. Luz Filipinas S. San Pedro, Metal Engraving. Dr. Alan O. Sunerpida, Plastic Surgery. Mary Ann A. Solomon, Outdoor Advertising, Signage Design and Production. Hendrik S. Sulay, Retail Management. Emmanuel P. Tesalona, Precious Metal Trading. Architect Manuel L. Torres Jr., Roof Manufacturing. Stephen Henry D. Pico Uy, Family Business Consulting. Patrick L. Yared, Resto Bar Management. I'd like to also acknowledge our District Polio Coordinator, Ricky Andres, and our Rotaract Club of Cebu Fuente Community-Based President, Raymond Kapalak, Rotaract Club of Cebu Fuente University of San Carlos, Gerald Ponce. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, PP Maricel Amores. Amazing ang kanilang presentation. PP Louie.
Yeah, PP Bob.
Tayo, kailan tayo magaganyan?
Right now, we also like to recognize a few more of our club members who just got in. We have Rotarian Andrew Ko. He is our Singaporean member, and he is into car fleet management in Singapore. Andrew, can you acknowledge, please?
Hello, Andrew.
Hi.
There.
From Singapore.
From Singapore.
Hi. I'm currently in my hospital room. I'm doing a full body medical checkup. So yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Hi, Andrew.
You're not done yet, Andrew.
Andrew, thank you for acknowledging.
Hi, Andrew.
Take care.
Hello.
Take care, Andrew.
Take care, Andrew.
Good luck. We'd also like to recognize, of course, past President Tony Moncupa, who is everybody knows currently the president of East West Bank. Tony, please acknowledge.
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Then we have, of course, Director Gino Relampagos. Gino is a contractor and a car enthusiast. Gino, can you acknowledge, please?
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Then, of course, we have past President Bob Estebanlar, who is into training and development. He used to head the Tele Development Incorporated, which services BPO industry. If you, Bob.
Hi, good evening. Apologies for not turning on my video as I'm not feeling well and I didn't want you guys to catch my whatever it is I have.
Thank you, PP Bob. And then, of course, we have spouse Delby Bragais, the better half of past President Tres Bragais, who is also joining us for this meeting. Delby?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Hi. Thank you, my dear. Thank you very much. Did I get to miss anybody else from the Rotary Club of Manila Bay? Going once?
Jackie, Pipi Jackie.
Oh, of course. Thank you, sir. And then we have, I'm not sure if he can respond, but PP Jackie Cruz is into the practice of law. And at the same time, he used to be the national chairperson of the NTC, National Telecommunications Commission. PP Jackie?
Good evening, everybody.
Boy, good to hear you, sir.
Good evening, Jackie.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Idol.
Jackie. Nice to see you, Pipi Jackie.
Hope all is okay, Jackie. Okay.
Hopefully everybody is accounted for. We may proceed. Thank you very much, my fellow Rotarians.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pipi
Pipi
Louie.
Louie.
Thank you for that. Oh, if I may just add, I'm happy to note that the wife of one of my old brads is a member of RCCF. Huh? Nakita ko kanina from your roster of members. That's a personal thing to me. Okay? So now, to introduce our guest speaker, may I call on the most beautiful PDG of Rotary, Philippine Rotary.
Agree.
A very good friend of the club, a very prominent Rotarian. PDG, Mayan Alcordo Solomon.
Thank you very much, past President Bobby. Bobby failed to mention that he and my mom were good friends way back in their Philippine Airlines year. So I whispered, I asked, did I call you Tito that time? Bookingan. No, but it's so nice to see so many friends 21 years ago. Mark, thank you for the history on how we forge our sister club ties. I remember that. I remember the dengue billboard. And I'm sure Alvin would remember how he housed a missionary. Remember that, Alvin, from the Dulo ship? You and I communicated. So Alvin was there. And
Yes.
Of course, the Pacemaker Project, which started during the year of our President then, Radi Abarintos. So with your past President, Roji Tanco, that was a very, very successful project that we've done. And we've been in touch. We've been in touch with Mark's friend, Bing. In fact, Bing is now my kumare, Mark. So we've been in touch. We're really good friends with Bing and Asila. So those were the good old days with Manila Bay. And yes, Mark was supposed to be district governor. And that time, your club had the most exciting theme, induction, dressed up like James Bond, and you'd have all these theme parties that we look forward to. So we are now re-engaging, as what my classmate Jackie said months ago. We will re-engage, we will reconnect, and perfect in this pandemic for the first time, we're having a joint meeting, virtually lang nga. But without further ado, I'm just so excited. Allow me to introduce our guest speaker, a very good friend. I'm doing this live. There's no AVP because I'd like to do some ad-lib. So it's really my privilege to introduce this friend. But before going to her serious side, let me present her lighter side. There's no truth to the rumor that she is a commercial model. As you can see in these pictures, So can we share my screen, Tope? So what can you say but say va-va-voom? But definitely, with the pictures that you'll be seeing, you can say that she can definitely give the commercial models a run for their money. And her trainings has brought her all over the world, as shown in these pictures, these beautiful pictures. And most often, I would tell her, I wish I were with you. And repeatedly ask her until now, I don't get an answer. Who took your picture? And who made you smile? So that's the lighter side of my good friend. And it will be a mortal sin if I will not do justice to her credentials. So, on a serious note, please allow me to read her impressive profile. Our guest speaker is a Cebuana, Bisdak, Bisayang Dako. She obtained her degree in Bachelor of Arts, major in psychology, magna cum laude, and Juris Doctor cum laude from the Southwestern University in Cebu City. She taught psychology in Southwestern University while studying law. She was appointed to the prosecution service in 2004 and became a family court prosecutor in 2006, an assignment she still holds up to the present. Her work primarily consists in prosecuting cases involving women and children. Aside from prosecuting family court cases, she also prosecutes special cases covered by the Department of Justice Witness Protection Program for Region 7, where she is presently detailed. Because of her advocacy on women and children protection, she became a member of the Technical Working Group of the Cebu Provincial Women's Commission, or PWC, in 2011. And for 8 years, beginning 2010, she sat as commissioner of the PWC, the primary policy-making and coordinating body concerning women empowerment and gender equality in the province of Cebu. As commissioner, she delivered lectures on gender laws in key municipalities in the entire province. In 2014, she was sent by the United States Department of State to the International Law Enforcement Academy in Roswell, New Mexico, to train in the Cybercrime Policy Forum and Academic Criminal Justice course. A member of the pool of trainers of the Department of Justice, Office of the Cybercrime, she conducts presentations before prosecutors and first responders on cybercrime in the different regional stations in the Philippines. She also serves as lecturer facilitator in the Philippine Judicial Academy of the Supreme Court of the Philippines in 3 competency programs, namely basic training, advanced training in the handling of human trafficking cases, and third, in the handling of online sexual exploitation of children cases for judges, prosecutors, social workers, and law enforcers in all judicial regions in the Philippines. She also conducts presentations and lectures for the Council of Europe GLACSI Plus projects. Further, she is a member of the faculty of the Child and Women Friendly Center, or Pink Room, of the Vicente Soto Memorial Medical Center in Cebu City, and lectures on laws on women and children for child protection specialists in Visayas and Mindanao. In October 2017, she was invited to talk on relevant laws in the Philippines on the prevention and protection of children against online sexual exploitation during the regional workshop for promoting comprehensive and harmonized national legislation aimed at preventing and combating online child sexual exploitation in Asian member states, and that was held in Bangkok, Thailand. She also joined the Philippine delegation to the plenary meeting of the Cybercrime Convention Committee in Strasbourg, France, last November of 2017. In March of 2018, she represented the Council of Europe in the Data Focus Conference in Jakarta and Surabaya, Indonesia, and delivered a presentation on Introduction to to cybercrime during the Surabaya, Indonesia legislation. In September of 2018, she represented the Philippines in the Underground Economic Conference in the Council of Europe headquarters in Strasbourg, France, during which law enforcement authorities, internet security specialists, prosecutors, magistrates from all over the world shared case studies regarding cybercrime offenses and internet-related investigations. Last January 2019, she was sent by the Council of Europe to Jakarta, Indonesia, together with two top members of the Philippine judiciary and another official of the Department of Justice to train the Indonesian prosecutors on cybercrime and electronic evidence. And just last September 30, 2019, she was invited by the Council of Europe to deliver a presentation on the current landscape of online sexual exploitation of children in Asia, the challenges, constraints, and obstacles for international cooperation in the region during the International Conference on Online Investigations, Dark Net, and Online Sexual Violence Against Children in Hague, Netherlands. A faculty member of the School of Law of Southwestern University since 2005, she has been awarded by the Southwestern University Alumni Foundation as its most outstanding alumna of the College of Arts and Sciences and the School of Law for her exemplary achievement in the field of public service in 2012. Her involvement in Rotary started in 2003, first as a volunteer, until she officially joined the Rotary Club of Osamis North of District 3850 in early 2004. However, it was short-lived as she had to relocate to Cebu because of her appointment in the prosecution service. While her experience in the Rotary Club of Osamis North was truly meaningful and enjoyable, it took her 8 long years to renew her Rotary work. The Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente became her second Rotary family in 2013, where she championed the advocacy on women and child protection against violence, abuse, and exploitation. She was awarded Most Outstanding New Rotarian of the Year in 2014. For Rotary year 2016-2017, she was chosen as the club's Most Outstanding Officer of the Year. And during the 2017 Distas, she was chosen as the Most Outstanding Secretary of District 3860. She has held various positions in District 3860 to include the Chair of District Legal Resolutions in the Visayas in Rotary year 2017-2018, District Legal Officer for Rotary year 2018-2019, Chair for the District Legal Resolutions, and Youth Protocol Officer for Rotary year 2019-2020. And the highlight in her career was when her work with the cases involving women and children earned her the distinction of being the prosecutor who successfully secured a conviction in the first documented cyber pornography case in Cebu. She is definitely a woman of substance. Currently the Director of Youth Service of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. Fellow Rotarians, Rotar actors, guests, to talk about the reality of online sexual exploitation of children, please welcome Prosecutor of the Department of Justice, Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente's Champion of Child Protection and Women's Causes, Attorney Lodita Gingging Lomanta.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mayan. You really played my favorite song, which is also your favorite. I have to say that your introduction was not only well prepared, it was lovingly done. I sincerely thank you for accommodating my request that you do this part of the program. Allow me also to take a moment to thank our sister club, the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, especially my partner, Attorney Jackie Cruz, for the initiative of holding this joint meeting tonight. I am stoked with the synergy our two clubs are starting to rebuild, no? Revive. I hope we will have more meaningful collaborations in the future. And most importantly, I really look forward to meeting all of you in person, hopefully soon. Okay, so allow me to share my screen now. Okay. The subject matter of my talk tonight is sadly a serious and a complex problem in the Philippines today. I chose this not only because this is, child protection is my advocacy, but also because I want to advance your understanding about this hidden crime, which most advocates refer to as modern day slavery in the Philippines today. I hope that this presentation will be a starting point for our two clubs to seek out ways to better protect our children, because I believe that the protection of the rights of our children is something that we should also take into consideration, because our children deserve nothing less. So I would like to begin my presentation tonight with a story. I'd like you to meet this young lady who I will call Juana for the purpose of this presentation tonight. I cannot disclose her identity as I am prohibited by law to do so. So this photo and the rest of the photos that depict her are partly blurred to protect her identity. Now, during weekdays, you would see Juana carrying brown papers, notebooks, pens, and then at the nearby park or any available open space, she would gather impoverished street children. So, sitting on plastic chairs, these children would listen to her as she delivers her lessons on the basics of counting and alphabet. Now, Juana does these activities as a volunteer of the Cebu City Task Force on Street Children. As a street educator, she says that teaching street children is a very noble and fulfilling work, as it helps provide basic education to young people. And every time she is asked why she decided to become a street educator, she always says, dili ko gusto nga mapariha sila sa mua. I don't want these kids to suffer the same fate as ours. Now, Juana knows from where she speaks, as it was 10 years ago, at the tender age of 11, when she hit rock bottom. You see, Juana and her siblings, the youngest at the time was 3, and the oldest was 16. All of them were sold by their parents online to foreign predators who were situated in different parts of the world. Now, the parents of Juana operated their business from their home in Cordova, which is a third-class municipality in Mactan Island. If you've been to Cebu, this third-class municipality is around 13 kilometers away from the Mactan International Airport. Now, upon the instruction of the parents of Juana, and most of the time upon the direction of these foreign predators, Juana and her siblings would undress, perform explicit, obscene sex acts in front of the web camera 2 to 3 times a day. And for each live online performance, Juana's family would earn, depending on the age of the child that who is used in the show, the length of the show, and the degree of the obscenity that is seen. No? The performance would range from $20 to $130. Now, Juana's first online show, or Soling, that's how they called it at that time. Actually, it's their version of showing, okay, happened when Juana was only 9 years and 6 months old. And for more than a year and a half, that Juana and her siblings did all these solings or shows. They never realized that what they were doing was wrong and that they were sexually abused by their parents. Now, the business owners stopped when they were rescued on June 1, 2011. This kind of abuse was so new in Cebu at the time. As a matter of fact, when this happened, this kind of abuse was unheard of. So when the story of the abuse done to Juana and her siblings by their very own parents came out, okay, the news landed in all the front pages of the local dailies in Cebu. So you may want to ask, how did the abuse, how was the abuse discovered? Now, on the screen is a picture of our vice governor then, Agnes Magpale. She was the co-chair of the Provincial Women's Commission where I sat as commissioner. She was very instrumental in the arrest of the parents of Juana and their rescue. Okay. Now on the screen is the actual testimony of the vice governor. She stated that on May 16, 2011, she received a report from an informant regarding the operation of a business by the parents of minor children using the said minor children to perform explicit sexual activities for a fee. So it was from a confidential, a concerned informant that she learned about the abuse being done to Juana and her siblings. She was told that a couple was using their children to perform acts over the internet for a fee. So the vice governor asked the informant how reliable the information was. And the informant told her that there is a CD to prove the information. So the informant requested her to view the CD and investigate the couple. Further, the informant asked her to save the minor children from further exploitation, as the informant feared what will become of the children when they grow up, should the exploitation continue unabated. So when the informant left, the vice governor decided to view the CD in her office. And while viewing the CD, these were her exact words when she testified. She said, "I felt very horrified, nauseated, and repelled by what I saw because of the obscenity and lewdness that I saw in the CD." Because live streaming, as I have said earlier, was really very novel, was so new, was unheard of at that time in Cebu. The Provincial Women's Commission, through the Vice Governor, sought the help of the NBI Cybercrime Unit in National Office. So we wrote the director then at the time, Magtanggol Gatdula, about this particular report here in Cebu. So after a few days, NBI Manila sent an agent to Cebu to assist the Provincial Women's Commission. So when he reviewed the information and the records of the case and discovered that the medium used to conduct the business was Yahoo. There were 2 Yahoo accounts that he discovered, which facilitated the abuse. He advised us to collaborate with the United States Homeland Security based in Manila to provide us information, provide us subscriber information pertaining to these 2 Yahoo accounts. Please take note that Yahoo is a US-based company, and in 2011, it was very difficult to seek assistance from a US-based company. So the NBI agent decided that we better collaborate with the United States Homeland Security. And you know what the Homeland Security did? They immediately contacted their counterparts in the US and requested them to send summons and preservation letters to Yahoo to preserve the records pertaining to Sexy Girl Pretty and Like.Star 73. And we were provided with traffic data as well as subscriber information pertaining to these two accounts. So for more than a week, technical surveillance was done where the Cybercrime Center in Virginia monitored the activities of these two accounts. And our local NBI also conducted physical surveillance of the subject couple. So after that particular period of physical surveillance and technical surveillance, NBI applied for a search warrant. And in the early morning of June 2011, a team of NBI agents accompanied by two agents of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security with social workers and doctors implemented the search warrant in the residence of the subject. So when the assault team entered the premises, they saw Juana together with four of her siblings and a cousin in different stages of undress in front of the webcam in the presence of the subjects. All six children were then immediately rescued and placed under the custody of the DSWD. So the NBI immediately arrested the subjects. They seized the computer system with the technical assistance of US Homeland Security. They were also able to seize Western Union receipts, and they found a long, brown, cylindrical object which one of the children described as a dildo. Subsequently, 5 criminal cases were filed against the parents of Juana, namely qualified human trafficking, 3 counts of child pornography, and child abuse. Now, what is online sexual exploitation of children? I have here the working definition of the International Justice Mission. International Justice Mission, or IJM, is a global organization which started work in the Philippines in 2000. The work of this organization focuses primarily on combating sexual exploitation of children. And according to IJM, OSEC is the production of visual depictions like photos, videos, live streaming of the sexual abuse or exploitation of a minor for a third party who is not in the physical presence of the victim in exchange for compensation. Okay, I'd like to educate you a little bit tonight, no? Because people always use the terms sexual abuse and sexual exploitation interchangeably. This is going to be one of your takeaways tonight. Okay, now, sexual abuse of children is different from sexual exploitation of children. The concept or notion of exchange, payment, or compensation is what differentiates exploitation from abuse. While child sexual exploitation requires the element of payment or compensation, such element is not present in child abuse. So, when a child is involved in a sexual activity that he or she does not fully comprehend or is unable to give informed consent to, without compensation, the criminal act is child sexual abuse. But when payment or compensation is involved, then the criminal activity becomes child sexual exploitation. So that's one lesson that I would like you to take with you tonight at the end of the presentation. Okay? So, question: who is considered a child? Under Philippine law and under international conventions or instruments, there are 2 points that will determine as to whether a person is deemed a child under the law and entitled to the protection of our relevant laws on children. One is chronological age, and the second is one's mental or physical condition. So any person below 18 years is deemed a child, or one may be 18 or over, but if he or she is suffering from a physical or mental condition that prevents her from protecting her or himself from abuse or exploitation, this individual is deemed a child and entitled to the protection of our laws. Okay? Now, there are several forms of online sexual exploitation of children happening in the Philippines today. But the most common form, and I must say the ugliest form of OSEC today in the Philippines, is live streaming of child sexual abuse. Sometimes it is called pay-per-view or made-to-order child sexual abuse. Okay? This is how it looks like, no? The crime usually involves three parties. You have the offenders. They are situated in different parts of the world, different parts of the globe. Then you have the local trafficker. The local trafficker usually is within the circle of trust of the child. The local trafficker is the one who facilitates, who sells the child sexual exploitation material. And third, you have the product, the victim, the child. Okay, before the advent of the internet, the foreign predators or offenders would travel to the Philippines and buy sex with a child from the local trafficker. But with the advent of the internet, the whole scenario changed. They can now enter the homes of our children by this very small window, which we call as the internet. So how is the business done now? Through our money transfer agencies, okay? Our OSEC offenders found abroad pays the local traffickers then produce live child sexual exploitation materials using the victims as products, okay, through the internet. Now, you'll be surprised that we have quite a number of enablers why this particular hidden crime proliferates in the Philippines. But what is surprising is the last item in the list. If you will see there, common language proficiency between trafficker and offender is an enabler. Most offenders prefer Filipino children because our children are proficient in English. So being proficient in English, given the circumstance that we are in today, is a downside as far as sexual exploitation in the Philippines is concerned. And do you know that there are 750,000 sexual predators online worldwide at any given moment? And do you also know that there are more than 100,000 commercial websites with sexual abuse images, particularly of children, available every day? And what is most disturbing is this: the Philippines is the #1 global source of child pornography and the epicenter of live stream sexual abuse trade. This is based on the report of UNICEF. As a matter of fact, according to Lotta Selwander, she is the UN Children's Agency head in the Philippines. She said that there is no limit to how cruel and how gross this business is. It's a billion dollar business now, in not only in the Philippines, but in the world. Silwander described how children as young as 5 or 6 are forced to perform several times a day in front of the webcam. And there is an estimated 72% of children exploited online who are under the age of 10. In fact, she said 70% of these children 7% of these children are infants. And like what I said earlier, it's facilitated by individuals who are within the circle of trust of the child, mothers, fathers, close relatives. And all these activities happen in the home. That's why she said it's definitely child slavery because the child has no choice. Okay? And if you think it is just nude photos that are transmitted to foreign predators, I'd like you to know that online sexual exploitation of children can also involve actual sexual abuse of children. As a matter of fact, we have seen materials where young children are molested, sexually abused by adults, and streamed live to viewers abroad. There are some children who are forced to have sex with other children. Some are made to use sex toys to portray sex acts. And some children are made to touch themselves. In fact, Juana and her siblings were made to do some of these activities. And mind you, the perpetrators are always a step ahead of everyone else. So instead of using laptop computers, now they have shifted to using cellular phones. Now, in 2019, very recently, just last year, the International Justice Mission, or IJM, in partnership with the U.S. Department of State and the Philippine Interagency Council Against Trafficking, conducted a research on the nature and scale of OSEC in the Philippines. Okay, the research covered the periods 2010 to 2017. Okay, what happened was they reviewed and it's coming from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, from the Virtual Global Task Force, and from the cases investigated by Philippine law enforcement authorities. The result of the research was released first quarter of this year. And what did they find out? Okay, according to the research, 64% of the cases we have worked here in the Philippines actually were referrals from international law enforcement authorities. As a matter of fact, most of the cases were referred by FBI and Department of Homeland Security in the US, no? And the annual number of cases referred to increased sharply and consistently from 2014 to 2017. Let me tell you, between the years 2010 to 2014, our local law enforcement only investigated 10 cases. Then you'll be surprised. There was a surge, parang COVID, no? There was a surge between the years 2014 to 2017, and 77% of the cases referred to our local law enforcement authorities ended up in the arrest of perpetrators and the rescue of children. This finding in the research is consistent with the report made by the DOJ Office of the Cybercrime, where I am a part of. In their annual report, they released their annual report in 2015 only. Just for your education, the cybercrime law was passed in 2012, but there was a petition filed immediately after it was passed questioning its constitutionality. And it was only in 2014 when the Supreme Court declared the law to be constitutional, and it struck down certain provisions. Anyway, to make the long story short, the first report came a year after the cybercrime law was declared okay by the Supreme Court. So, based on the report, in 2015, they received a total of 14,452 cyber tips. These are reports coming from NECMEC involving online sexual exploitation of children in the Philippines. But look at the figures in the next slide. Diba, from 14,000, it more than tripled in 2016. It rose to 40,668,000. Then it rose further in 2017. And surprisingly, in 2018, it multiplied 14 times over. Naging 579 ang reports in 2018. In fact, in July alone, I saw the figures, no? In July alone, a total of about 160,000 reports were provided the DOJ Office of the Cybercrime. And while the figures dropped a bit in 2019, without a doubt, the volume and scale of OSEC in the Philippines has reached unprecedented levels. Now, going back to the research, another finding is that OSEC victims are different from the victims of commercial sexual exploitation of children, yung mga exploited children sa mga casa, because the exploited children in casas mostly are females. 96% of them are females. But OSEC victims are both males and females. And they also found out that OSEC victims, or OSEC is a family-based crime, and that without intervention, the abuse would last for years. In fact, based on the study, the average length of abuse is 2 years. So you can just imagine for 2 years, this particular abuse would continue unabated. So what will become of these children when they grow up, no? So you can see here in this slide that we have an average of more than 4 victims per case. And there were 10 cases which involved more than 10 victims, okay? The median age of the OSEC victim is 11, and the research revealed that 45% of OSEC victims were 12 years old or younger. 9% of the OSEC victims were under the age of 3. And the youngest age of the OSEC victim rescued was less than 1 month. Nakakatakot. This is really, the figures are really very alarming. Another important finding is that the customers, the predators abroad, tended to be older men. The average age actually is between 50 to 59. The youngest age reported of the perpetrator is 40. The oldest was 72. And most customers came from the US, Sweden, Canada, Ireland, UK, Norway, and the Netherlands. And there was an average of 2 traffickers per case. Traffickers tended to be younger Filipina. I tell you, in most of the cases we've worked on, 66% of the traffickers were women. Median age of the traffickers was 27. And we have the sale of child sexual abuse materials in the dark web. What occurs in the Philippines is the surface of the internet sexual exploitation. So most of our perpetrators use social media platforms, messaging sites, email, dating websites, okay? And there appears to be financial motivation to the crime for most facilitators. In one of the fora I attended, I was asked if poverty is the primary reason why local facilitators engage in this activity. It has always been my position that poverty is an enabler. It may be a motivation, but it is not the primary reason why people engage in this activity. We have held the position that it is the demand from the consumer that is the very reason why this crime proliferates today. Okay? Now, going back to Juana, the prosecution presented a total of 10 witnesses in court. The first witness presented was the vice governor, who choked as she described the obscenity she saw in the CD. The last witness presented was the computer forensic expert of the US Department of Homeland Security, who flew all the way from the Cybercrime Center in Fairfax, Virginia, and take note, at no expense of the Philippine government. He testified on his findings on the forensic examination of the hard drive. You might ask me, bakit merong mga Amerikano who testified in this case? You see, when the computer was seized, we collaborated with US Homeland Security, and we sought the authority of the court that the hard drive from the computer be sent to the Cybercrime Center in Fairfax, Virginia for forensic examination. So this forensic expert was the one who conducted the examination. So when it was his time to testify on the relevant findings of the forensic examination, he flew to Cebu and stayed for 1 week. I'd like to tell you that this forensic expert was the very first one from a foreign jurisdiction who testified before a local court, okay? So while the cases were pending in court, Juana and her siblings were transferred to the care of a private nonprofit institution which became their home for 10 years. A middle-aged and married woman became their nanay, their mother, who served as their guardian. Okay, and with appropriate intervention from child protection specialists, life today is entirely different for Ojuana and her siblings. Her eldest brother, he was 16 years old when they were rescued, now works as a cook in a cruise ship abroad. Her second elder brother is now a production operator. He's now 23 in an industrial company here in Mactan. And the rest of her siblings are all in school. In fact, her youngest sibling, she was only 3 at the time of rescue, is in school, and on weekends, she studies ballet. Now, the story of Juana was featured in a local daily last year. And when she was asked how she was, this was her reply. There has been so much difference in my life now. I have accepted what happened. She further said that she was traumatized, yes, but instead of thinking about it in a negative way, she said, I used it as a stepping stone to be able to move on with my life. She actually wrote this down in the personal diary that she keeps, okay? And inspired by the social workers who monitor them since they were rescued, Juana took up Bachelor of Science in Social Work at a private university in Cebu. And as a volunteer street educator on the side, she devotes her time to educate and empower underprivileged children. She tells them about their rights and educates them about the responsibilities of their parents, okay? And when she was asked what message she has to those who still continue to expose their children to online sexual exploitation, she quipped, there are many ways to earn a living. Think very well without compromising the rights of children. There is still time to change. Do it now while it's still early. Remember, regrets always come last. And in March last year, she finally obtained her degree in Bachelor of Science in Social Work. And during her graduation, she wrote in her diary, thank you, Lord. What we are going through as a family is not and will never be easy. But I believe that there is a reason for everything. It's up to us to give up or to move forward in life. And we have chosen to do the latter. You know, she took the board exam in social work last year, and when we looked at the list of the board passers, her name was one among those listed. So she's now a full-fledged social worker, and she now works in a recruitment agency here in Cebu. Now, my fellow Rotarians, I have a special interest in this case because I was the lone state lawyer who prosecuted this case from 2011 to 2017. And the photo that you see on the screen was taken during the actual arraignment of the parents of Juana. This also appeared in the digital version of Cebu Daily News when I presented the Vice Governor as my first witness. This was the portion in her testimony when she handed to the Honorable Presiding Judge the CD that was turned over to her by the confidential informant. And this was the same CD the court viewed during her presentation as the first witness for the prosecution. And this was also taken in court when I presented the last witness. I used to call my last witness as Brad Pitt. This is Brad Pitt, actually, when I handed over to him the hard drive that he examined. The other guy here is my other American witness. I presented 3 witnesses in court. And the third one here, the guy who is scratching his head, is my counterpart. He is the US DOJ attaché. He was the chief prosecutor at the time. I collaborated closely with him when I handled this case. Okay. And in October of 2018, after 7 long years, the court finally handed down a guilty verdict to the accuse the parents of Juana in this very first documented live streaming child sexual exploitation case in Cebu. And they were meted a sentence of life imprisonment. So when news broke out about this conviction, I was interviewed by several reporters, and there was one reporter who asked how I felt about securing a victory for Juana and her siblings. And from the heart, I said, we already obtained victory the day we rescued these children, because that was when we gave them hope. By sharing the story of Juana to all of you tonight, it is my hope that all of you will realize the true volume and scale of this problem. It is no exaggeration to describe this as an epidemic impacting several children every year. I want all of you to bear in mind that the harm online sexual exploitation causes children can be profound, not only to their emotional and physical development, but to their trust in adults, especially if the abuser is someone they love. So the sooner the abuse is identified, the sooner the healing process can begin for all concerned. Now, what can we all do in Rotary? Now, our approach to this problem is actually three-pronged: prevention, protection, and prosecution. So where can we come in? Prevention. How can we go about it? We can help by educating and raising awareness among children, parents, and the community about the illegality, impact, risk related to online sexual exploitation of children. I've been doing this in the last couple of years. I've been doing the rounds talking about OSEC, talking about the laws on women and children. And I hope we can take this advocacy seriously, no, in our two clubs. Or another way of getting ourselves involved is by reporting. When you are aware of a situation where a child is targeted by perpetrators online, and maybe we can also provide support and care for victims. I know of one facility here in Cebu that provides trauma-informed services to victims of sexual exploitation. Okay? This is really very important. This is one endeavor we should consider seriously, because our children are the world's most valuable resource. They are our best hope for the future. And one of the initiatives of DOJ is this project. DOJ Office of the Cybercrime calls this SAFE, which is an acronym for Securing All Filipino Children from Exposure to Harmful Online Contents. I encourage you to access the website of DOJ so you can understand this project fully. Another initiative is by IACAT. If you want to report, please call 1343 if you are in Manila. If you are, I'm sorry, let me go back to that. If you are outside Metro Manila, you can call 02-1343. This is a 24/7 hotline facility that will respond to emergency or crisis calls from victims of human trafficking, OSEC, and their families. Another initiative is the one initiated by our PNP together with Smart Communications and IJM. They actually launched this the other year, no? This is also a 24/7 hotline exclusively for OSEC lang, hindi for all trafficking. So if you want to make a report and you are using Smart, you just text and OSEC, then space, and then send it to 7444-28473. Then somebody will call you about your report. Now, all these initiatives are in place to provide a venue for the public to be engaged in the fight against trafficking in persons, the fight against OSEC, which is in line with the core message of the Interagency Council Against Trafficking. And that core message is, laban kontra human trafficking, laban nating lahat. In English, let us all together fight human trafficking, because the fight against human trafficking is everyone's fight. You know, I went to visit Juana in the facility to seek her permission to use her story the very first time. This was last year when I spoke in the district convention of District 3870 in Iligan. This is the photo I took of Juana and her family. So when I visited them, I took the occasion to ask her if she has any message for the Rotarians. And she only had one message for all of us. Please help protect the children. So my fellow Rotarians from my own club and from the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, I join Juana in her call for help, and I hope you will also join me and Juana. We must act now. Let us all remember that every child deserves a safe childhood. So let us all work together to protect their rights, because our children are not for sale. So thank you for listening. Maayong gabi. Daghang salamat kaninyong tanan. The photo that you see on the screen is the photo of my mother. I have a story to share here. If you remember, in 2015, we also had a similar activity where I spoke about laws on women and children. And while I was talking, my phone kept on ringing. It was actually my sister calling me to tell me that at that moment I was speaking before our audience, my mother left. So my mother left in 2015 while I was delivering a presentation just like what I just did tonight. So in honor of the memory of my mother, I made a promise that every time I will speak before any audience, I will always use her slide, her photo rather, as my last slide. So once again, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan. Thank you very much.
Daghang salamat, attorney. That's a beautiful message there. So, shall we now open the question and answer portion? The body is invited to go ahead with your questions.
Kung walang magtanong, pwedeng ako magtanong sa sarili ko. Because I remember in one of the activities I attended, one of the members of the audience asked me, ito bang mga online predators, are they pedophiles? Because some people say the pedophiles from abroad, you know, bought sexual abuse materials. I'd like to be very clear about it. Based on one research conducted, only 5% of the predators are diagnosed pedophiles, meaning to say, not all predators suffer from pedophilia, because pedophilia is a clinical diagnosis, meaning to say, one may buy child sexual exploitation materials without being a pedophile. As a matter of fact, research has shown that most of them are highly educated older men. They are technology savvy. And they just get attracted to children, performing explicit sexual activities. So let's try to avoid the use of pedophilia as reference to sexual predators. Okay, so that's just one important point I'd like to be very clear about with you tonight. So pedophilia is a clinical diagnosis. So if you're attracted to children below 11 years old, you are a pedophilia. And if this condition has existed and persisted for more than 6 months with 6 other important criteria, you can be a diagnosed pedophile. If you're attracted to children 11 to 14, you are you are suffering from hebephilia. So pedophilia below 11, pero pag 11 to 14, you are a hebephile. Okay, so these are just some terms I want you to remember para lang maklaro. Okay, thank you very much.
Ang hirap mag-react, attorney, sa kwento mo talaga.
Meron akong, can I ask a question?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question to Attorney Ging is this kind of crime protected somewhat with our law enforcers?
That's really very, I don't want to attribute anything to our law enforcers, no, but based on my experience, I have not heard of any law enforcer involved in this activity. As a matter of fact, our law enforcers have been our active partners in the fight against online sexual exploitation of children. I have not heard of a documented case. I may be wrong, no, but so far based on our discussion. In fact, I just came from a 3-day training. We ended our plenary today. It's an activity involving prosecutors, judges, and law enforcers. And there was nothing in this 3-day activity which spoke about the involvement of law enforcers in this nefarious activity. Wala akong nalalaman, to my knowledge. Okay?
Nakapagtataka lang kasi, attorney, very rampant. If you, from the figures you have shown, in a span of a year, hundreds of thousands, and you know naman in the barangays, somehow people know of what's happening in their environment. Tapos, parang nakakapagtaka. Sometimes yung crimes kasi is either protected or walang pakialam yung enforcers.
PP Alvin, ganito, no? One of the proactive measures done by the Interagency Council Against Trafficking now is to establish task forces in the barangay level. We just launched it during the World Day Against Trafficking very recently. So we have activated task forces because we want people on the ground to get involved in the fight against trafficking, particularly online sexual exploitation. And if I may share this, here in the province of Cebu, we passed an ordinance where all recruitment activities in the province, especially in the barangay, will now be registered. That's one of the pieces of legislations the Provincial Women's Commission initiated a few years back. Okay, so our barangays are now involved, very, very much involved now in the fight.
Question. Bobby? Yes, can I ask a question?
Yes, sure, sir.
Yes. Is this considered a high crime or international crime wherein all countries will have jurisdiction?
It's like this. Online sexual exploitation is a subset of trafficking. And the law on trafficking was expanded a few years back. RA 9208 was amended and expanded by RA 10364. No? And in the amendment, jurisdiction for, we have our courts in the Philippines now has extraterritorial jurisdiction sa trafficking. But our problem is if the consumer is situated abroad, there is difficulty about asking foreign jurisdiction to extradite their national here in the Philippines. So what normally happens is we charge the local trafficker and then we communicate with foreign counterparts that if the act is a crime in their national law, okay, if it's a crime, if it's an act defined as a crime in their national law, that they also indict and prosecute the foreign offender in their jurisdiction.
Is that automatic?
Yes, that is how it is. But just to expound on trafficking, the new trafficking law, the expanded trafficking law, there is a requirement kasi that the exploitation commences in the Philippines for our local courts to acquire jurisdiction over the subject matter. Because as far as jurisdiction under our laws are concerned, we have to have jurisdiction over the subject matter. We need to have jurisdiction over the person of the accused. While we may have jurisdiction over the subject matter, but if we don't have jurisdiction over the accused, because the accused, the OSEC offender is situated in a foreign jurisdiction, wala ring mangyayari sa kaso. That's why we encourage our foreign counterparts to indict the perpetrator and to prosecute the case in their jurisdiction.
So they are mandated to prosecute, or they may not.
If they have a law that defines the act as a crime and penalizes the act, that is how it should be. In fact, in this case of Juana, alam mo, all those nationals who actually transferred money to the family of Juana, they were actually summoned by our foreign counterparts abroad. Our friends from Homeland Security started knocking at the doors of those individuals there. We were told about it.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. Good presentation.
Thank you very much, Attorney Dindo.
Yep. Anyone else?
May I?
Please go ahead.
Fred. I think it's clear that the crime itself is instigated by poverty. So is it, or what does the commission say about that?
Sir Noel, I think I made a statement earlier that our position in government, and this is a position supported by our partners in the service, that poverty is an enabler, but that poverty is not the primary reason why our local traffickers engage in the activity. For as long as the demand from abroad continues, our local traffickers will also continue to produce child sexual exploitation materials. That's why one of the measures that we have introduced now is to provide livelihood to families. I'd like to tell you that the IACAT established this home, a facility, a one-stop shop a year ago. No, we call this Tahanan ng Pag-asa. This is a one-stop shop to provide services to all our survivors, including their families, and we intend to hold livelihood activities in this tahanan pretty soon. We were supposed to open this during the World Trafficking Day. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it was not possible to complete the construction of this facility, but hopefully soon we will be able to do that and realize our objective to provide all these mandatory services to our survivors, including their families, because we cannot just handle this alone. No, we have to bring in all of our partners, and we cannot just take care of our children without including their respective families.
Thank you for that very good clarification on the role of poverty being the enabler. But now that we are in the midst of a pandemic where economic dislocation is so rampant, where millions of Filipinos have lost their jobs, lost their businesses, do you anticipate the rise of this kind of activities now that the enabler is so much around today? And what do you think is the government, or should the government do at this time?
I have figures here, no, from the Center on Internet Crimes. These are figures they provided us from March 15 to July 21, and during this period, they conducted a total of 15 operations, and they rescued 55 children and arrested 13 suspects Okay, the Office of the Cybercrime also reported for March alone, no, last year, the report only were 23,465, but in 2020 during the lockdown, the reports rose to 132 just for March, and then April last year 24,147 ang report, and then now for 2020 53. So for May, 28,000, and now it's 93. So apparently, based on the figures, it would appear that there is also a surge. Precisely because of the lockdown, our children are now online. So walang offline activities ang mga bata. So the fear really is, and supported by the figures, that there is a surge. So what is the government doing about it? The Office of the Cybercrime, through the USEC, Mark Perete, actually spoke with our internet service providers if they can strictly comply with one provision of the child pornography law, particularly Section 9 of the said law, no? Which requires our internet service providers to block and filter child sexual activities using their facility, meaning to say the only way that we can really address this is through technological solutions. If they will just strictly execute the mandate under the law, that is one particular solution I see by which we can address the surge or the rise in the number of reports that we see now. I hope I satisfied your concern, sir. No? So a solution that will come from our internet service providers would be a very good way in combating in this particular problem.
I have another question, Bob.
Yes, Attorney Dindo.
Is this crime mala prohibita?
Okay. While it is a crime covered by a special law, I have to say that by its very nature, to me, it is also malum in se. I tell you. Because by its very nature, you know why I say that, sir? Under the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, you have to remember that the child has the absolute right to grow, develop, and be protected from all forms of violence, abuse, and exploitation. And anchoring on that core principle of protection against violence, I believe that online sexual exploitation is malum in se, even if it's covered by a special law. That is my position on the matter.
So if it is malum in se, good faith is a defense, correct?
Sir, while I personally believe that it is malum in se, how can you justify good faith when you sell your own child? I don't think good faith is going to be a very good defense there. Any lawyer for that matter would really say, res ipsa loquitur, if I may apply that, you are selling your own child, okay, and you stream this child sexual abuse material. How can you justify good faith there? That's impossible. It does not take 1 + 1 to really convince the court that this definitely is a crime.
So there's no defense?
Sir, ganito lang, in the case that I presented, it was denial that was used as a defense. They said that they were not the ones who accessed the internet at the time, and someone else accessed their internet. So the challenge there is user attribution. We may have digital evidence on chat logs, on traffic data, but as to whether or not the perpetrator actually was the one who sat on the computer at this particular time, again, user attribution is actually the challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, ang hirap talaga yan, Attorney Ging, ano?
Oo, kaya nga, we continue to capacitate our prosecutors and our partners. So we just completed a 3-day training today, and I was just told that there's another activity happening on October 24 here in Cebu. We will do that, and then in Davao, there's another one happening on October 29. So what I'm saying here is we continue to enhance the competencies of our prosecutors, our judges, and our law enforcers because we will never stop in our fight against online sexual exploitation.
Bob, pwede pang magtanong?
Okay,
Pwede pa po. Sige po, last.
Attorney Ging, yung case ng parents ni Juliana, it took our prosecution 6 years. Ganun ba talaga katagal ang ating justice system?
Alam mo, I was waiting for that question to be asked. Ganito kasing nangyari. There was no permanent presiding judge who sat in the court where the case was filed. As a matter of fact, 5 different judges heard our evidence. That's why it took so long for the case to be resolved. But as far as the prosecution is concerned, we completed the presentation of our evidence in 2 years. But because papalit-palit ng judges, it took a while for the defense to complete the presentation of their evidence.
Come to think of it, you have hundreds of thousands of cases and that's just one case in 6 years. So much resources.
I tell you, the number of the pieces of evidence I presented, ang marking ko, reached Q, 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 Q. Meaning you multiply that many times over, ang dami kong pieces of evidence which I offered in court. And take note, I presented 10 witnesses. So you can just imagine, and I imported 3. What's interesting about this case is we activated the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. We got the support of the US government. They help us provide evidence in court. So that is one interesting twist here in this case. The very first time that we had Americans testify in a local case. So bottom line here, may international cooperation na element itong kaso na to. That's why it's really very interesting. Up to this day, this case happened in 2011, but up to this day, this case is still being discussed in different activities. And I just discussed this earlier today in the activity that we just had. And I'm going to talk about it again, the legal aspect of the case. I will talk about it again on October 24 and October 29.
So in combating this kind of crime, attorney, can you put it in hierarchy among the 3 ways that you want to combat this kind of crime? You said prevention, I forgot the middle one, and then prosecution.
You know,
can
there
you put
is
that
no
in order?
No, first and foremost, we should prevent the crime from happening. That's why we have task forces all over. Kasi if you are able to nip it, okay, early, we don't have to work on these cases anymore. That's why I believe that we should exert more effort on the prevention element of our 3-pronged approach in combating online sexual exploitation.
Thank you.
Okay. We have another question from Anne Delby Bragais, of the wife of past President Pres Bagais. Delby, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Attorney Ging. Thanks for the very informative and inspiring presentation. I find this very timely because approximately 48 hours ago, I contacted the president of RCMB, President Fred, actually asking him to talk about the possibility of supporting a shelter actually for these victims of trafficking. And you mentioned about these certain shelters. So as of now, I'm part of an association. It's AICI, Association of Image Consultants International. It's a global association of image consultants, and we're using it as a platform to help these young women. And you know, as you were sharing a while ago, I recalled face-to-face interactions with these young girls, some as young as 7 years old, where the perpetrators actually were the parents. And they are housed in this shelter. We're supporting a shelter in Antipolo right now. Have you heard of the Voice of the Free?
I think I've heard about. I think I've heard about that.
Great, great. So it's a non-government organization, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to provide protection and some education for these young girls. Right now, they're around 47 to 60, and the ages 10 to 21, and for future integration. But while the cases are pending in court, I mean, their lives are kind of like in danger right now, and it is not very safe for them to be going around. And the problem is usually integration, because a lot of the people who put them there in the first place were their parents. So would you know of other shelters in the country, considering that the crimes are so prolific in this country?
Okay. One of the things that I'd like you to know is a program of the DOJ where I am part of here in Region 7. One of the measures that we can do is for these victims to apply under the Witness Protection Program. We provide shelter, we provide financial assistance also, and we provide security during trial. And we can also coordinate with DSWD to provide these children aftercare services. So that's one of the remedies that I can actually recommend. There's also another program of DOJ. Ito yung victim coordinator program. You can also coordinate with IACAT. The victim coordinator can assist our victims also on matters pertaining to the court process, no? Especially if you believe there is a possibility of witness tampering. We call it witness tampering, where people will try to influence, threaten, harass our would-be victims if cases are pending in court. So I'd like you to avail of the services sa DOJ, Witness Protection Program, as well as the Victims Coordinator Program of DOJ.
Okay, that's
so we have
really
that in place.
great. Thank you so much. So you mentioned the Witness Protection Program and the Victim Coordinator Program.
Yes.
Yes. Also, in line with what you mentioned a while ago about coming up with programs for integration, actually that's where we're coming in. We're providing programs for these young women. I'll just give you an example. If, for example, it turns out after self-discovery programs, etc., that I love creative ventures. I've seen a lot of these young girls, really very talented and gifted, having beautiful paintings, etc. It's really very heartwarming when you see the talent among these young survivors. So that's where we come in. We usually come up with very easy to understand, simple programs that can help them either look for work, like social enterprise building, I think is one of the thrusts of these havens, but also for those who want to apply for employment, very basic programs like resume writing, people skills, etc. So I just wanted you to know that, and perhaps in the future I would get in touch with you if that's okay.
We can collaborate, and I can also connect you with my counterparts in Manila.
Fabulous.
We have a lot of friends there, especially because I'm also very active in the child protection network of PGH. No, I have my contacts there also.
Fabulous.
So we can collaborate. But just one last point. No, I just want you to know about one of the very proactive programs of Germany. Meron silang tinatawag na Prevention Project Denkelfeld. Ano ito? This is actually a program of mga clinical psychologists and psychologists in Germany. They provide a hotline if you are a would-be perpetrator ng online sexual exploitation and you feel you're attracted to children, you just call this hotline for as long as there's no pending case against you. So if you have the propensity to go for child sexual abuse materials, you're attracted to young children, you just call the hotline and they will call you in for therapy or treatment. So that's one way of addressing this problem on consuming child sexual abuse material. So they
Do
have
we
done
have
that.
that here?
No. We don't have that here. But that is one of the initiatives of Germany. They started that in Berlin, no? So talaga they. As a matter of fact, they have the support of the government. Oh, yeah, they have the support of the government. So, wala rin akong masyadong nakikita ng mga German perpetrators based on the data provided us. No, maybe because this particular measure is really very effective. It has been running for quite a number of years already. Kung merong mag-take ng initiative sa Pilipinas, it would be interesting, no? But we have so many undiagnosed pedophiles maybe,
Oh.
Okay, so that's the last point I'd like to share to
you.
all of you. Thank you very much. Let's communicate.
Okay.
That's a joint project.
Sana, no?
Possible.
Yes.
Thank you. So now we'd like to present Attorney King with a certificate of appreciation. A small token of our appreciation for your talk tonight. And the certificate will be read by my president, President Fred Sibo. President Fred.
Thank you, PP Bob. Thank you once again, Attorney Galing Ging Lumanta. Kaya pala you're the palangga of Cebu, for your advocacy and protection of women and children against sexual abuse and exploitation, internationally and locally, for being proactive with such sterling credentials. We are blessed to have you, somebody like you, who are very few in this advocacy of yours. Thank you very much. And it be an honor to give this certificate of appreciation on behalf of Manila Bay, Rotary Club of Manila Bay, and Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente. We hereby present this certificate of appreciation to Attorney Lolita Lamanta for sharing her time and wisdom as resource speaker on reality of online sexual exploitation of children that gave life and emphasis to this year's Rotary International theme, Rotary Opens Opportunities, given this 24th day of September, year 2020, during the joint meeting and sisterhood signing of the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente and the Rotary Club of Manila Bay via Zoom. Signed, President of Rotary Club of Manila Bay, Frederick Sibog. Signed, President of Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Emmanuel Tesalona. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Pinapalakpakan po yan.
Thank you very much, Attorney.
Attorney, maybe we can have a copy of your talk later on.
Yes, I will give you the other version.
And we look forward to inviting you in our barangay communities to help the portions in the barangays of Makati, that especially Poblacion, Barangay Poblacion, where there are a lot of tourists, foreigners exploiting these young children.
That would be commercial exploitation of children. No, we can talk about child abuse also. No, so sige, I look forward to the day when we can do that in person, President Fred. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, soon. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you as well. Before we go to the highlight of tonight's meeting, I'd like to take a pause for us to acknowledge any latecomers from both clubs. Who's that? PP Louis, do we have anyone to acknowledge yung presence? Si PP Louis yata nawala.
Yes, sir. PB Bob, earlier
Yes,
he
sir.
was still with us, the former Deputy Speaker Lorenzo Tañada III, but he had to go earlier because he also has to attend to another Zoom meeting, but he extends his regards to everyone.
All right. Thank you, sir. And from the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Past President Maricela Morales, anyone you wish to acknowledge?
There is none at the moment. There is none.
By the way, did we acknowledge the one from RCME Mandaue? Is that Mandaue?
Is there Mandaue? I'm sorry, I was not able to check.
She was there. I saw her name.
Mandaue East.
Mandaue
Hey there,
East.
this is Past President JB.
Good evening.
Okay. Hi. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Hi, VP Sal.
Hi. Good. I'm sorry. I was not able to check.
It's okay.
Yes. From Mandaue.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yes.
PP
Yeah,
Bob?
good evening po.
Good evening.
So, anyone else?
Yeah,
Yes.
PP Bob.
Yes.
We'd like to also acknowledge our latecomers, Past President Nilo Ramirez, Doc Roji Tanco, and Director Lani Sison, as well as Past President Andrew Buencamino and Rotarian Katz Ababaw. They were here, and I think they can acknowledge and say hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh,
Good evening.
Milo. Si Doc Roji.
Buhay pa.
Yeah, Doc Roji. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Doc.
Frontliner battler po yan.
Doc Roji is a very... Yes, sir. Yes.
May I add something? I invited Senator Coco Pimentel to join us. Unfortunately, he's doing his daddy duties. He's holding his baby right now, so he cannot be online, but he is with us in heart and spirit.
Very good, sir.
Regards to everyone, daw.
Ayan. Regards to everyone. So,
From
all right.
Senator Coco.
Thank you for that. Now we come to the highlight of tonight's meeting, which is the ceremonial signing of our sisterhood agreement. And this agreement will be read to us by Club Secretary Heidi Elisan. Heidi, take it away.
Okay. So, Sister Club Agreement between the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, Rotary International District 3810, and the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, Rotary International District 3860, pursuant to the object of Rotary and to encourage and foster the advancement of understanding, goodwill, and peace through fellowship of organizations and persons united in the ideal of service, we hereby enter into the Sisterhood Club Agreement to mutually undertake the following. 1, to promote friendship and brotherly understanding. 2, to coordinate and cooperate with each other regarding projects and or activities of mutual interest. 3, to encourage visitation, either individually or in groups. 4, to exchange information of club activities and membership profiles, both between the clubs and members, especially of the same classification. 5, to exchange related materials such as books, magazines, messages, slides, videos, and such other publications pertaining to worthwhile activities. And number 6, to engage in joint activities and joint projects in the pursuit for community development of the object of Rotary. The Sisterhood Agreement between the Rotary Club of Manila Bay and the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente shall take effect upon its signing by the duly designated representatives of both parties and shall be effective until revoked by mutual agreement. In witness said whereof, the presidents of the two Rotary clubs have affixed their signatures on this 24th day of September 2020 during the joint meeting of the Rotary Club of Manila Bay and the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente via Zoom, signed by President Frederick Sibug, the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, and President Emmanuel Tesalona of Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente, attested by Secretary Heidi Elizan, and Vice President, President-elect Attorney Bernardo Amago IV.
Mabuhay!
Mabuhay! Indeed,
Thank you.
mabuhay.
Thank you, thank you.
On behalf of the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, may I say that we are proud to have you as it is our pride to have you as a sister club. Like what PP Mark said, 2 great clubs. So thank you very much.
I second the motion.
Pwede rin third. And now for some announcements. Who will go ahead? Sinong presidente po? President Emmy, do you have announcements for your club?
As of the moment, we don't have any announcement.
Okay, President Fred.
Well, I'd like to say thank you very much for this re-engagement of our sister club. And we're looking forward to doing several projects together. And one is this divine intervention meeting of Andel Bibragais and Attorney Ging Lumanta. That was a nice conversation earlier. Maybe we can start up with that project. We can help each other. And I'd also like to inform everyone, TPME, we were talking about it earlier, that our club sent you the face masks, our commemorative face masks for our 25th year. It's a token gift to your club for this re-engagement of our sister club. And we have this advocacy in our Facebook page where we wear mask, save lives movement. And we'd like to invite you, once you and your members receive the masks, please wear them and send your pictures to me or to our club so we can post and share these pictures to broaden our advocacy for this Wear Mask, Save Lives movement. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you, President Fred. Kami, may mga pictures na kami lumabas.
Yeah.
Pagwapuhan tayo.
Pwede ba natin ma-share yung yung ibang pictures like yung sa'yo, PP Bob? Sana yung na-share natin sa Facebook natin, yung mga pictures natin. Sec Heidi, do you have a sample? Meron lang, if not. Well, I heard from TPME that he received the face masks, and this is...
Hindi, ako may sample na.
Ito. So this is what our face mask looks like. Of course, yours has a different design. So hoping that you can share the pictures to us soon wearing the mask.
All right. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much,
President.
everyone. So for the adjournment, may I call on the 2 presidents, please?
Go ahead.
Sige po.
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
Go
by
ahead.
the power vested in me by the Rotary District 3810 and the Rotary Club of Manila Bay, I now declare this meeting adjourned.
With the power vested in me, I now call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you both presidents. Okay.
Thank you.
Fellowship na po.
Oh, PP
Picture
Mike, tuloy.
muna. Group picture.
Ay, picture muna.
Okay, please open your camera.
Ay nga pala, picture. Ay, teka muna, sandali. Hindi ako maganda. Sandali.
Wala kang attendance, Bob.
Yeah. Again.
Okay. Page 1 ha. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, sa page 2 naman. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, PP Mark, continue your story for 21 years. Baka meron ka pang di kwento. Ikaw ang ninong namin. RCMB and RCCF, you're the bridge.
Yeah, well, thank PDG Mayan.
Of course.
Really, talagang ano yun. It was endorsed to us. Grabe.
Sana meron mga pictures na ma-share tonight, no? The pictures you had together.
Sayang, hindi pa digital noon eh. My God.
Ako, meron pa ako dun sa aking yearbook. Because that was one of my good better experiences as president when we went to Cebu.
Talaga.
Yeah.
Talaga.
We went to Soto Memorial Hospital to officially open the pacemaker bank project there.
Oh, yeah.
Kasama si Doc Rogie dun eh.
Well, let's recognize Doc Rogie. He's right here now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying kanina.
Rogie, thank you so much.
Our presidential awardee, Doc Rogie Tanco.
Rogie, thank you so much. Doc has gone through so much.
I was just with him yesterday. I delivered the PPEs.
I posted the picture in PGH.
Yes, group. Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you, RCMB, and thank you, PP Jeff.
Thank you, Doc.
The cath lab staff is very appreciative of the PPE and the masks that were provided, and I was told that they are high-grade quality PPEs that they can actually use.
Ayun, wow.
Good. Hingi pa tayo kay
galing
na. Tayo.
Mark, di ba sa panahon natin, all men pa kayo, all male?
Hindi na. No, actually,
21 years ago.
Yeah, no, actually, from our charter naman, we also accepted women. Kaya lang,
okay.
for some reason, early on, we were not so, I don't know, somehow, hindi sila tumatagal.
Kasi sa term, nung umpisa with then President Yumi, you were all men. All men
Oh,
kayo.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
You were all men. And now I see ladies, one of the advocacy of Cebu Fuente is on breast cancer awareness.
Oh my gosh.
And we will send over our materials on instructional video on how to do self-breast examination. Papadala namin through President Fred.
Sure,
May English version narrated by Lea Salonga, Tagalog version narrated by Don Sulweta. Tapos may Bisaya din by Rocky Vega.
Wow, galing.
So we'll give you that. That's another
Good.
advocacy program from our club to your club.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's do that with President Fred. We have a lot of lady members now.
That's right.
We also have a lady doctor. We have a lady doctor. We have a lady doctor members. Doc Pauline. So yeah, that's fantastic.
And our past president, PP Anayu.
Oh, doctor, very good. I'll turn over the video.
Maganda yun.
Sige. Anyway, we have a messenger group. So we can share it there. Oh,
yes.
That'd be nice. Sino pa?
Is President Andrew here?
Yes.
President Andrew, or immediate past President Andrew Buencamino, are you here?
Yeah, he was here earlier. He was late because he attended the wake of his chairman Sanchez of PhilRacom. But he was acknowledged earlier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Is President Andrew here?
Okay.
Govman.
Yeah.
Yes?
Ang galing ng ano nyo? Ang galing ng Zoom operator nyo.
Oo.
Congratulations. Thank you, Tope.
You know, I've had a lot of Zoom meetings and palaging maraming technical issues,
Yeah.
especially the ABPs.
Yeah.
But this one was flawless.
It was the best,
In
though.
fact,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I was singing to the Rotary hymn. I was singing with it. Kasi
Ang galing, ano?
kasabay eh. Sabay, oo.
Oo. Nagsisync, no? Yung iba kasi delayed eh. Hindi nagsisync
nagdi-delay,
yung lyrics dun sa
ganon.
music.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So I was really amazed. Yeah. Congratulations. Si Chris yun, si Chris.
Yes, Christopher. Thank
Christopher.
you,
Thank you, Chris.
Christopher,
Thank you,
are you
Chris.
there?
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
You were good, man. You were good.
Chris.
Hindi nagloko yung
Congrats,
internet connection ko.
Teki.
Yeah.
Teki, sa itsura pa lang. And
Maswerte tayo, maganda yung signal tonight.
and thank you also to our guest speaker. That was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So beautiful presentation, flowed very well.
Yeah.
Tapos
Very well. Very well. Attorney Ging, problema masyado yan, ano, talaga yung poverty issue. As Professor Noel was saying kanina.
Pero that's also very difficult to address.
Oo eh.
Diba? It's very difficult to address, but we cannot just attribute to poverty lahat-lahat ng problema on child exploitation.
Well, it's just a big fish eating the small fish.
Yeah. There's
it's a
some
good start.
some parts of Makati. There are little girls selling flowers, especially to the tourists. They sell sampaguita. Pero front lang pala yun. Ang totoo niyan, they're really selling their flower.
Oh.
Talaga?
Yeah,
Saan yan?
Oo. And then,
Saan yan?
Ikaw naman, Pipi Bob, sa Makati meron yan eh. Hindi sa barangay namin ha. Wala na yan sa barangay namin.
Taga Makati yan eh.
Hindi rin sa barangay namin ha. Hindi rin sa barangay namin.
8 years old, 9 years old. Alam mo, if you see them now, 5, 6 years after, may baby na silang hawak. Buntis na. Pero they're still selling flowers. So it's so sad because yung baby nila later on, pag naging 9 years old yon, will do the same thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Horrible.
That was a big eye opener. The one
Yeah.
of the attorney
Oo. There's very few like you, ma'am.
Oh no, there are very many of us prosecutors who are into this work. If you can only see the list of prosecutors we had today, no, in the training, you will realize that many of us are really working here. Not only because we are mandated by law, no, to do so as public prosecutors, but we have taken a personal stand on the issue of protecting our children. So it has also become our personal advocacy. So marami kami. Ako lang nakilala nyo, but hopefully one day you get to meet the many others who are also doing the same work that I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
That's good. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Want the video on?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Can I just ask a question? One last question.
This is my spouse, Anne Cecile.
Yeah, because I was very alarmed in one of your slides. You said the Philippines was the #1 exporter of internet sexual exploitation. I would like to know what the history of the Philippines is in terms of sex trafficking, not only limited to children, but also to adult women. You know, you have always this, for 20 years, you hear something like order brides. We have this reputation. What is our reputation in general in terms of sex trafficking for women, young women, children, etc.?
Trafficking is not only a concern here in the Philippines, but it is a problem which is global in nature. It is for that reason then that we are closely working with our international partners because trafficking is deemed a transnational crime and it does not know of any border. Okay, so what is the reputation of the Philippines as it is today? The Philippines is considered not only a source country of traffic men and women, but also a destination and a transit country para sa trafficking. Okay, so figures will show that when we send men and women abroad and they do not follow the measures which are in place, a number of them end up being exploited for labor. Kaya nga, they have to comply with all the measures in place sa POEA and other agencies in government that provide protection to our overseas workers, no, for us to be able to prevent trafficking from happening abroad kasi namumroblema tayo, especially if they deal with individuals who are bogus in terms of recruitment. Maraming ganyan because of their desire to provide a better life to their families here in the Philippines. So they resort to these recruiters na hindi naman legitimate, only to find out that when they reach their foreign destination, they end up exploited for labor purposes. So usually pag dinadala sila abroad, it's for labor and sex trafficking. So unfortunately, the Philippines is considered a source country. That's our reputation abroad, unfortunately. But we are doing something about it. Kaya nga ngayon, we have task forces. We have different, we have our partners sa law enforcement, DOJ, in our airports, our seaports, and even our terminals. They're trained to do profiling of would-be victims of trafficking to prevent this from happening. So many of them have been offloaded. Hindi tinutuloy. Even immigration officers are on the lookout for these would-be victims. So hindi sila hinahayaan to be able to fly out. No? So they're prevented from getting their flights out of the country if it would appear that they fall under the profile of a would-be victim of trafficking. So we have all these measures in place. So we have task forces in all our entry and exit points all over the Philippines today.
Entry and exit. Yeah. Thank you.
Bob, punta na tayo ng Abuhan.
Sana makabalik na tayo ng Cebu.
Magpunta na nga tayo sa Abuhan. Bukas pa ba? Di ba yun yung bulaluan?
Alvin, yung ba yung sa Ramos?
Ewan ko, anong kalye yan. Pero yun ang masarap na bulalo.
Oo, yung hotel.
Yeah, Ramos, Kanirag.
Ramos yan, no.
Kanirag Hotel.
Kanirag, tama. Oh, that's the one. Sa likod, no? Oo.
Sa loob ng Kanirag.
Sa loob nga, sa likod niya.
Yeah. Yes.
Parang lahat ng mga lasing pupunta ron.